Hi guys, it's Raythe from Raythereign here, and it's our third installment of ghost stories. So I have another story that involves our favorite thing, the Ouija board. Really, this thing got me in more trouble in high school than anything else, and I'm not quite sure what happened to the board. Like I said, it was something you would get at Toys R Us at the time, so it wasn't like it can't be replaced, although my friend did create a new one, a real one with a piece of wood, and she did all this elaborate carving and stuff on it, which was pretty cool. But ironically, that one did not work as well as the store-bought one, which is really strange. So we took the Ouija board over to one of my friend's houses, and she had this great bedroom up on the third floor. It was sort of like, this house was huge. And the third floor was, I guess, would have been the attic, except it wasn't like one of those crummy attic rooms. It had dormers. It was really, really nice. And it didn't get so hot or stuffy or anything like that in the summer. We went up there and we were using the Ouija board on the bed. She had these little doors in the room, and these little doors were to allow people to get into essentially attic space, you know, storage space that was up there that wasn't being used in the main area. And they weren't half size, they were like quarter size doors, and they were painted white, and they had like, you know, nice hardware on them. They weren't creepy. Her whole room was not creepy. It was really awesome. Actually, I'm jealous of that room that she had. But I did not like these doors. I kept thinking, for some reason, my mind kept offering me this image of something spindly that was going to come out of them. And the longer we used the Ouija board that night, the bigger and the stronger that feeling got. Like I didn't want to even have my back to these doors. And suddenly, my best friend at the time, her face went strange. Can't explain it, but you know how people have a resting expression on their face at all times, and then of course it alters based on their mood and what they're doing. It wasn't hers anymore. I literally was like looking at another person to the point where I actually reared back from her because I felt like it was an evil, almost ugly expression. And the skin tone, her very skin tone had changed to become a ruddier color. And yet there was like sort of a greenish undertone to that as well. And we asked her if she felt all right. And her voice was funny. It was more almost guttural. I mean, she was a girl. She had like a nice high voice, but she suddenly, the voice had dropped like an octave. And at first I thought she was, you know, putting us on, you know, you're playing with the Ouija board and everything like that. But mind you, we had all the lights on. There were no candles going. This was a bright room. And then suddenly she hops off the bed in this peculiar manner. It didn't look right. And all three of us were like staring at her, and she's just like saying that she's going to go to this boy's house that we don't know, but you know, we know who he is. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go there. We're like, what are you talking about? And this was someone she liked, but hadn't talked to, you know, one of those typical high school crushes that you know, love from afar, which is absolutely ridiculous. But she did. But the way she talked about it, I realized that she would ruin any chance she had of gaining his attention if she did this. But she was saying this with almost malicious glee. That is what it seemed like. So she went to the stairs, and we were on the third floor, and I stepped in front of her and I said, don't do this. Really, don't do this. You need to stop. And she said to me, you can't stop me. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, no, you aren't. I'm like, seriously, something is wrong here. I don't understand what's going on, whatever. Then there was a doorbell. The doorbell rang down below, and the girl whose room it was, she went downstairs, and there was this guy that she liked. The ironic part is I hooked up with this guy, and he was yeah, it was just not good. Anyway, just keeping that as an aside. But, I didn't know that she liked him. In fact, anyway, it doesn't matter. But she went down there and she left us alone upstairs, where my friend was in this completely bizarre mindset, didn't look like herself, wasn't moving like herself. And I'm like trying to block her from going to do this terrible thing that would basically expose her to ridicule among the, in the school. And she was seemingly so intent on doing it, it was almost as if she wanted to destroy herself. I know that sounds very dramatic, but that's what it was like. So at that moment, a couple of our guy friends came upstairs and I said, you guys, you got to help me convince her not to do this. And all of a sudden she lunged forward to go down the stairs. And I actually caught a hold of her. And I've never done this to anyone. I've never tried to physically restrain anyone. I outweighed her, by the way. I've always been a powerful lady. And I should have just by sheer weight alone been able to stop her. But I couldn't. The two guys, our two guy friends, were so disturbed by her behavior, they tried to stop her. There were three of us. We couldn't stop her. These were big guys. We were seniors in high school. And this was just not good. She was like practically, and she was laughing and she was making these sounds and trying to get past us. And I kept telling her, I said, you've got to stop this. You've got to stop this. Stop pretending. Stop pretending. But the truth was, I didn't think she was pretending. Nobody thought she was pretending. It was like she had lost her mind. And we finally were able to pin her on the stairs. Now, mind you, the girl whose house this was is down in the kitchen flirting with another guy, leaving us to pin this woman to the stairs and try to pretend like nothing was going on. So finally, it's like as we got farther and farther away from the bedroom and the Ouija board, it was almost like she got better. For a moment, it was like she was herself. And I saw her expression change and she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't feel right. She's like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I can't explain it. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. You're scaring the hell out of all of us. I said, you really need to stop. She's like, I'm really afraid of what's happening here. I don't understand. And so she got downstairs. We were giving her water. She was still acting strange. And she was still telling me, like, don't let me leave the house. Don't let me go do this thing. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, okay. But the last thing that she said to me when she was still in this very strange state is that you're going to pay for this. So I was like, oh yeah, okay. A week passed and we hadn't been back to the girl's house where this all happened. But we drove past it after we had dropped her off, and we were half a block away. But the friend who had been possessed, or whatever you want to call it, was driving. And I remember when you just left this house, I thought of what that thing had said to me. And I really do think it was a thing speaking through her. We got into a car accident. Right then and there, it was like I went flying across the car. We got T-boned, and it was just crazy because this shouldn't have happened on the street. It was really empty, and my friend was a really good driver, but yet here it happened. And later on, we didn't talk about it at that time, but later on, we compared notes, and she's like, I think the car accident was connected to what had happened in the house. We actually did not use the Ouija board after that. Part of me wanted to say, oh, she was putting on, but I don't believe that. But it had such a negative impact on her, on me, the car accident, this terrible thing. And truthfully, I don't think I ever went up in that room again. Ironically, the girl who owned the house never had any experiences whatsoever and seemed completely oblivious to what had happened. But I can say that, my best friend and I had been using the Ouija board consistently for a while. And I really just think it was a negative thing. And I realize I sound ridiculous saying that. But at the same time, we at least, I feel, tapped into something that wasn't good. So again, that's the end of this week's Scary Stories. So I'm dying to hear yours as always. And I think we'll have one more before Halloween. Take care, guys. Bye.